Looking further at usage, there's current checkout reports and then there's historical usage reports. So let's look at some current ways of looking at current checkout status within this tool. There's three. There's the color-coded overview page, which looks like this. So this is a table. It shows you everything that's currently checked out, how many licenses you own, how many are in use, and it also can show you if the licenses are reserved. If the table is too big, you can use this filtering box up here to get to the specific tools that you're interested in, and you can sort by clicking on the column heading to sort from highest to lowest or lowest to highest. We can also show the current checkouts by what we call the gas gauge display. These are called gas gauges because they're like gas gauges in your car. They're going to continuously be updated every 10 minutes. These gas gauges are going to change. So if you leave this page open in your browser, you can come here anytime you want, and it's going to show you the most current status of the checkout. It shows you the capacity, and obviously it's color-coded based on percentage of use. And if you want to know who's using, you can click on the blue here. If you drill in, it'll bring up a table that shows you exactly who has it currently checked out, how long they've had it checked out for over here. And again, you can click on the column heading and sort it from longest checkout to shortest checkout. It also shows you the machine they're using the tool on. And a couple of things to note in this particular current checkout detail report. One is that the usernames are linked to Active Directory. So you can just click on the name and it'll bring up their information from Active Directory, their email address and phone number. Two is that we have the ability to remove a license. So if there's one here that you want to pull back, this executes what we call the lm remove command. You do need to have special permission to do that. But if you do, you can actually pull the license back from this place right here and get the license back into the pool. So three ways of looking at current checkouts: the color-coded overview page, the real-time gas gauges, which is this one, and then the checkout detail report to see all the gory details of who has it checked out and for how long. And again, any of these reports can be set up as on demand. Just one click will take you directly to the report. If you have the environment, you can set up what we call the command center look and feel. Basically, these are big 65-inch displays on the wall. We don't sell these, but if you like to see these different reports pop up on a wall, you can do that. We have a white paper up on our website that explains how you can set that up. Let's look at some history reports now. History, there's basically thousands of ways of looking at usage history: by feature name, by tool, by tag, by user ID, by groups of users. We'll talk more about groups in a minute. And then you have all these pre-selected time periods: last 7 days, 30 days, 90 days, year to date, or any custom time period. And there are two kinds of history graphs, history reports. There's graphs and tables. So all the graphs, depending upon the information that you're trying to show, all the graphs are also JPEG images. And all the tables can be sorted by clicking on the column heading, can be filtered by that filtering box that I showed you, or can be exported to Excel. If you needed data offline, all tables can be exported to Excel. And these are just some samples of the different kinds of graphs, samples of the different kinds of tables, but there's literally hundreds of different reports. This is a very, very common history report. It's called the history graph. Basically, it's showing the capacity. This dotted blue line or dotted red line right here is your capacity. Then the actual is here, and then the average is this darker blue line here. And you can set this for whatever time period you want. This happens to be 7 days, and it's dynamic. So as you move your cursor over the data, it's going to show you the exact value at that particular point. All graphs are JPEG, so you can download this as a JPEG image, copy it, save it, paste it, whatever you want to do. We also have the ability to do auto scaling. If you have a really, really high capacity and a low usage, you can blow that up by using the auto scaling button. We can also show top 10 users for any given time period. And we show it both in terms of duration, that's total checkout time, as well as count, number of checkouts. And this is useful if you want to see who your power users are. We have a graph called the checkout heat map. It's basically a way to visualize time of day and day of the week when you're getting the most intense checkouts. So it's color-coded. Dark red is where you're getting the most intense checkouts, and then that fades to red, yellow, and blue. Blue is no checkouts, but it's a good way of visualizing when the checkouts are occurring for any given tool. We did the same thing for denials. A denial is, of course, when an engineer can't get a license. And so this is a 24/7 way of visualizing the day of the week and the time of the day when the denials are occurring. So if an engineer is looking at this, he'll avoid those dark red areas. We also have something called concurrent use graphs, and at renewal time, these are going to become very important because this is the way that you can tell how many licenses you need. Floating license is all about concurrent use. It's all about books in the library. We own 10 books, and 10 books were checked out concurrently 1.5% of the time. These little numbers add up to 100% here. So that's 24/7, but we do the same thing Monday through Friday, 8 to 5. And again, in this example, we own 20 licenses, it says up here, but we never use more than 15. So if I was renewing, I would probably say, hey, I don't need those extra 5 because they're never checked out. 15 were only checked out 2.3% of the time. Maybe I can get rid of that one too. So these reports are very important come renewal time. We do a report that looks at the other side of the coin. This is the zero use. And there are features or tools in your inventory that are never checked out. And those, if you're paying for them, you want to get rid of, save some money. Or you might want to advise the engineering managers so they can do some training. In this example, we're looking at a particular ported host, the NX demo ported host. And there's a feature here, NX Design Studio. We're paying for that, but it's never been checked out in the last month. So I would like to know why, and maybe we can get rid of it at the next renewal. That's called the zero. This makes a great monthly batch report or quarterly batch report. Then we can do usage by engineer, specific engineer. We can do usage by groups. So what's a group? A group can be a project team, a site, a lab, a manager's name. It can be anything. Basically, you create a group name and put engineers into it, and that creates a group. These reports are very useful if you need to do chargebacks. And I'll show you an example of a chargeback report in a minute. In fact, this is a user detail report for an engineer called A. Foyt. And I want to see everything that he used in a specific time period. And this gives me a list of everything that he used in a specific time period. This is a group detail report. I want to split up the cost of MATLAB across my groups. These are all my groups that I've created here. And then this is the total time that each group used MATLAB. And then this is the percentage of total. And so what all I would do here is export this to Excel and use these percentages to apply the cost to each group. So it makes an easy way to do chargeback reports. We can also do group usage in a graph. So in this example, I want to see MATLAB usage by group CC101. That's the group name. And so this is just the group CC101 usage in a graph form. So a little more on groups. There's 3 ways of creating a group. One is interactive, which I described earlier. You create a group name and you just click off the names of the people that belong to that group. And you can come back later and manage that, take off names, add other names. That's the interactive method. The second method is using an Excel spreadsheet offline. So basically you create your groups in an Excel spreadsheet, save it, you come in and then just import it and all your groups are automatically set up. The third way is using your Active Directory to create the groups. And we have the ability to create groups based on organization, office, or department, or any combination of the 3. And you can create your groups that way. We have another report that's available that shows any user that is not assigned to any group. Some customers want to know that. So there is a report that can show you that. We can also report on denials. Denials is a good indicator whether you need more licenses. But our reports give you the names of the people that are getting denied, how many times they got denied, the feature they're getting denied on, the machine they're getting denied on, and then the particular denial code. This allows you to filter on the true denials. The -4000 class denial codes are the real codes that you want to focus on because that has to do with reaching a maximum number of licenses. So we do denial detail reports. We do denial graphs, so you can see, over time in a graph form how the denials are occurring. And moving over to another type of graph called the combined feature graph. This is if you have the same feature running on multiple license servers. In this example, we have this NX tool running on the blue server, which is defined down here, and the red server, and the black is the combined total of the two. So you can have 2, 3, 4 servers serving the same license, but in this graph, you'll see all instances across all the servers in one view, plus the combined total. This is very helpful if you want to see whether you have enough licenses in total or whether you need to shift licenses from one server to another server. But again, this is only if you have the same feature running on multiple license servers. We have another graph called the multiple feature graph. So this is the same ported host. And in this example, we have 15 features at this ported host. And you can just check off the features that you want to plot together for any given time period. And this is useful if you want to see correlation of use. I want to see if these features are used at the same time or to the same extent. That's called the multiple feature graph. Again, it's being able to view multiple features at the same ported host. We have a comprehensive checkout report, which is basically only used if you have applications that can check out a license for 10 seconds, 15 seconds. If you do, you can get this report, which will show you all those short checkouts.